systems. Ezisolution.com is authorized representative solution system Australia. And today we are here to handle few things like number one, how to delete any transaction. Let's say a transaction is being made. This is an invoice, and a staff make this particular sales. Okay. After this particular transaction, you want to void it. Remember, this is RetailMan. How to void in RetailMan is different from how to void system, calling the 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 system, gives permission access to void. It means the person can void. But if the permission is not given, you cannot void. So you have to know who is configuring your system for you. It is not properly so many loopholes can be opened. So you have to be sure. If not, having some loopholes, you can configure everything perfectly. You want to configure it, and no one will be able to manipulate or do anything and cheat the company. But once the person configuring the system don't know much, you have so many loopholes, so many places. Now, this void is something very, very important you need to understand. And this particular void, look at it here. I made these two invoices, sales of this invoice. Okay. So I'm making the net sales, and the person thousand. Let's say the person is paying here. Then I'm paying the balance in cash. Okay. Now here we have 3 transactions. Now, during the configuring, you can configure and give a staff access very well. If you watch very well, there is no delete button here. Access, meaning the access I have cannot delete. If it's ESR, which is Ezisolution Restaurant, its own pattern of voiding is completely different, not the same with this. So now, if you configure the user access, all these cells without seeing the total sales for the day, you can see the list of the sales invoices without seeing this total. And if you configure it that the person will have access to see the list of get the total and get the total sales for the day, you configure it. Now I configure to see, but I did not see give myself access to be able to void. So these are the measures of security that should be taken to you how it can 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 affect your account if you in. I'm configuring. I'm using the master user, so let me configure it now. Allow delete. Now by the time I say then is F7 that the person cannot have access to even call up that particular page. Then if I remove this total amount, it means that the person will not be able to see the total amount that shows down. Then if I disable the S7, here control that particular page. So here means the total of the sales listed. SN can be able to click that F7 the list and show the list of sales. So if I enable this and remove this, what I am going to get is that there will be list of sales total. Then when I here is without total. Then when I mark this one, meaning even to see the list of sales, it will not show up. Then when you mark it means the list should show, and at the same time total should show. Then when you should be able to delete or void any invoice that is already made. So this is where that is very, very important to know. You need to know who is configuring for you. Very important. So I save this. Able to delete. I should be able to see it. Then I should be able to have access to the S7. Then before I want the total, I'm removing the total now so that we can. I need to log in again. Now watch. The total is no longer here, but the list of sales are here. Enable. Look at it here. If we check the total sales for the day, deleting you before deleting anyone, avoiding anyone. Now to remove it. Now I want to remove this one of 4,000. Yeah. Meaning this should be access given to the setting of the if this access should be given to the manager. The settings of this should determine, the settings of the organization should determine who is to have this access. Because when you give access stealing, it means that I want to I want to show you something. I want to show you something. Now, if you watch here, it reduces the amount without showing the void. Because when I am viewing the report, I did not mark that include. If I mark it void, that it will report the void. That is when it's going to report the one deleted. But the first time I view it without marking here, it didn't show anything. You don't even notice that something happened in your account. There are some invoices that is being but by marking this particular shows you there are some invoices. Now let's view it. 1,000. Show without the voice, so here shows you just the voice, but it did. Finally, I say the person that should have this access should be a person that should be in charge of everything. Before giving this access, you should be able to lecture the owner of the business so that the owner of the business will understand. When viewing sales, you must So thank you very much for about this particular one. I want another part again, but I decided, okay, let me add it up. Now this very one, it can be used to handle return, but this is not the best way to handle return, which in my previous video I explained about the return. So I think if you want to watch about that return, go back to that particular video. You were able to watch that particular very one. But this particular video to speak about the void. Because many people do ask questions, how can I give money and remove money, and at the end of or there is an invoice, somebody just made a mistake and we have written this invoice, can we be able to remove it? I don't normally use that method. I use the method of self-return, which this is not the main self-return. So that at the end of the self-return, the history of the be showing, and his return will still be showing option of self-return, which is, let me just touch it briefly. On the self-return, you have to click sales, you have to click invoice/quotation, then invoice number 8. The invoice number 8 is what we want to reverse, and the customer want to reverse only this particular item. I click on it 2 times. Then now I will delete the ones. Once I put my cursor on the part number, I click delete line. That line will go. So this is the only item I want to return. Then I can go ahead and pay it as cash. Then now, this particular item is. Let me show you that it's returned. This is the particular item. Let's go to the history of the item for you to understand that it's actually returned. Look at the item here. So let's look at 3. So you can see the sales. This is when it was still remain set up. You can 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 before. I hope you understand this now. This is actually sales return pattern, which is the pattern to use, because the other very pattern group holds. And the only way you can detect and track, get it If any of your staff or a mistake, if you want to know what this means to be stealing from your business, you need to go to POS, daily sales report, and you are going to include this. It's no longer stress of voice that give us the 4,000, but you will see the value here. Thank you, and you have a great day. And whenever you want to buy a license, kindly visit solution.site. Let me go visit the website for you. Kindly contact us answer you. Bye.